Hey horror fans, thanks for joining me for this review of Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City. Alright, cast and crew information down below. And let's see what this IMDb plot has to say here. I guess they have a couple of them here, but I'm going to read the first one. Set in 1998, this origin story explores the secrets of mysterious Spencer Mansion and the ill-fated Raccoon City. Alright, love Raccoon City. Great name for a city. Uh, anyway, this is, I guess, the reboot of the Resident Evil franchise here as far as movies are concerned. I will tell you, awfully weird not seeing Mila here playing in this movie. Um, it was great watching, so many movies with her in it, and she's definitely a woman that kicks major ass, and regardless of whether you liked all those movies or not, just watching her kick ass was very enjoyable um, over that franchise. But I guess, we have to start over as we do with so many of these horror franchises for whatever reason. Um, this one, I guess there's a little bit more wiggle room. This is based on video games, and I guess there's different avenues to go by. Um, I will let you know on top, or to start here, um, I may have played the original Resident Evil, if it was that. I'm not even really sure. Or maybe one of the ones that were the original, one or two or whatever. But on a very limited basis. So I'm not the expert here on Resident Evil. The game and everything that kind of unfolds in the entire history of the game and so forth. So if you're looking for a review to kind of reflect on what they did right and wrong as per the game and whatever they're taking from the game, I'm sorry, I'm just not the individual for that. Um, it just, as I continue to tell people, um, unfortunately, my gaming days are over. I don't play many games anymore as much as, and it's nothing more than just a timing thing. I would love to. I would love to explore the Resident Evil universe more. I remember the little bit of the game that I did play was pretty awesome and creepy and dark and um, just, all that kind of goodness you get there in a horror video game. Um, I wish I could, but I just don't have the time for it, really. Um, with that said, so yeah, so I don't know. If you're looking for that, I apologize. You'll have to get that on another review. Anyway, I will tell you, a little bit, I guess, from of the movie and whether I liked it or not, and maybe some of the stuff I do know, maybe a little bit from the franchise. I'm not going to claim to be a Resident Evil expert by any realms. There are some familiar names. I know there were some names here that were familiar. Whether they followed the exact story or not, or what was supposed to happen, it kind of seemed like it did, but I'm not really sure. I caught the beginning halves of somebody else's review, and I guess they said they seemed to say that maybe they took two games and kind of merged into one here. I don't know if that's correct or not, or how well versed that person is in this and all. But if I read it correctly, that's kind of what they hinted at. But like I said, I really have no clue whether that's true or not. Obviously Raccoon City is familiar, and like I said, there's some familiar names along the way. Um, whether that they accurately depict them and their storylines, I'm not really for sure, and not to say. Anyway, in this one, basically, you're starting off, kind of in an orphanage where you see a young girl, and she's, kind of befriending some other, I'm not going to say it's a girl, but, might be a creature or something to that effect, or somebody who's been experimented on. And I believe that's Claire. And then you're going to see her later on kind of grown up and kind of how she's drawn back to Raccoon City. So you're going to have that kind of element there as far as the story and kind of, her trying to figure out her past and why she's been brought back here. She knows that there's something wrong, but she's, kind of having trouble kind of fitting all the pieces together. She's there with her brother, and you kind of have this group of people that are kind of military like, but they're not really the police. And then you do have the police here as well. And let me just go back here. Um, I believe, um, yeah, you get Leon here, and Leon I know is a familiar name. You get him, and I believe he's one of the policemen here in the story. Um, but kind of a different role for him, or at least, I kind of thought he was more of the hero. At least I remember him being that way in the game. Or at least, if I'm getting that wrong, I apologize. I don't know, but I thought he was. But here he kind of is more of a younger police officer, one that not 100% sure of what he's doing, or he's not totally great at what he's doing here, at least early on. You have another familiar name was Wesker. Um, I was getting him kind of confused with somebody else and what they're going on there. But he was one of the military group that's kind of involved here and kind of going into this mansion later on. Um, they're sent there on a mission, and I don't want to give too much away here, but I guess they're sent there on a mission, and obviously things go wrong. He's kind of in charge, and he's there with a couple other people. And then obviously you have Claire and her brother investigating. They kind of get involved with the police, and kind of everybody kind of ends up in the same place in the end. Then you have the doctor, who is played by, let me see if I can find him here, Neil McDonough, and he's the doctor here, William Birkin. God, he's so good as a bad guy. I don't know by name if you recognize him. He's currently, or the last I saw of him, he's on some of the recent episodes of The Flash. I forget the character he plays, but he's a bad guy on that. But he's done, lots of different things. He's such a good bad guy. He's not, tremendously bad here. He is the doctor here. He's obviously the one who has done the experimenting on here and created the creatures that we see in the movie and maybe some of the same ones you see in the game. He doesn't have a huge role. Obviously, his character is important, but you don't see a whole lot of him. I don't want to give away everything that's kind of happening there, but I don't know. Just he doesn't overly get to be the bad guy here, but just in the moments he does, it's pretty cool. So I definitely was happy to see him. Not familiar with, there's one or two faces here that I'm also familiar with, but some of the others I'm not. And I don't think, even though, the story kind of picks up with Claire here and she's, kind of the center of it, I don't think she kind of stands out the way Alice did and Mila did, and it's not having to take the forefront of having to kick ass and learn to kick ass. She certainly does have her moments, but nothing I would say in the same ballpark. Or I was trying to think back to the first Resident Evil. Mila kind of starts off not knowing what kind of world she's falling into, and then she kind of gains her powers and strength and as she kind of goes, and maybe that's a little bit of how it is here. You know, Claire holds her own, but I don't remember, and I have more memories of the later Resident Evil movies where Mila is just certainly kicking some super ass, and certainly never not on that level of it. As far as the creatures, I think they did a pretty good job here. I don't think there's gonna be anything like super overwhelming and super to wow you with. I'm assuming, and especially in the way this one ended, that they have more ideas and more direction of where this is going to go. And if they continue on, I'm sure they would bring forth bigger and badder creatures. There is one towards the end, that's pretty, strong and kind of worthy of what you would see, I guess, at the end of a major level in one of these games. and not so easy to defeat. Although, in a way, they kind of cop out with it, with how they defeat this thing. Um, Make it a little bit too easy. But maybe that's in the game too. I don't know. I don't remember. I know that they gave you different weapons and stuff to use and so forth. So maybe it was there. I don't know. But yeah, just a lot of shooting and with the guns and so forth. Not a whole lot of like hand-to-hand combat here in Leonard. I mean, we saw Alice do a lot of that. Um, and she as well as use the gun, but here it's just a lot of guns and weaponry here to deal with the creatures. But I think they did a pretty good job with the creatures they do, and there's certainly some creepy ones, and um, they try to get you with some jump scares there. Whether they do or they not, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that I was paying so close attention that they were gonna get me, um, but they are there. At least a few sprinkled in. Like I said, they explore the mansion, and that kind of opens the door to that kind of thing. And then at the beginning, when they kind of do the orphanage scenes, and they kind of flash back to that a couple of times, kind of led you to some mysterious moments, to say the least, I guess. Um, uh, let's see, this one got a 5.2 on IMDb, but 18,000, I guess, stars given, or just over. So I guess middle of the pack, I guess, for them. Um, like I said, if I was more kind of involved or more experienced with the game or whatever, I guess I could tell better off if they really did a good job or not, or what they did right or wrong. I don't know. But I'm gonna say this movie was okay. I think it was worth 2.5 pools of blood. I think, and that is out of 5, and that's almost what they have here, kind of in the middle of the pack here. Um, I wasn't, certainly blown away. I don't think they had the level of special effects that maybe some of the other movies done. Again, I'm doing a lot of comparing with the other movies, because I guess that's what I have to kind of compare it with, as opposed to game knowledge. But I'm going to assume, and I don't have no idea what the budget is here, but I'm going to assume that, make a big assumption that they didn't have the kind of budget that maybe some of those other movies had. And why, maybe things were done, maybe not in a huge blockbuster role here. Like I said, um, it's kind of limited to Raccoon City and limited to the mansion to a certain respect. There's a few outdoor scenes in the city, but I think majority of it, especially the back half, kind of is in this mansion and so forth. Um, but with the limited budget, they still did good with the creatures and so forth. I don't think there's anything to be super complaining about there. Unless you were looking for a certain creature and whatever, then it didn't happen. I know they did the dog thing. I remember there's dogs in the games that I played, and they had that, so that was cool to see. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna go with 2.5 pools of blood. Like I said, I assume, at least with the way they left us off, that there's gonna be more to come. But we'll see, and we'll pick it up from there and see where they go. And maybe they can have a bigger and more explosive budget to go with it, to do bigger and better things. We'll see. So with that, horrorsgorereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find more of these reviews. Written ones for sure. The video ones are there as well. Twitter, Facebook down below. If you want to reach out to me there and talk about this movie, other movies, horror in general. And the comment section, same to be said about that as well. Reach out there as well. Subscribe to the channel if you want just the video reviews. Like, dislike, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you want to do. It's fine with me. And yeah, I'm glad I'm not in Raccoon City. I'm glad I'm not being experimented on or one of those creatures. And I wish I could be playing the video game, but I'm not. But anyway, we'll instead of doing video games, we're reviewing movies, and I guess I'm off to the next one. So I'll catch you later, horror fans.